welcome. So feel free to jump in at any point if you have any questions, and we'll address them then. So this is part of our spring career fair prep series. We're starting with LinkedIn, but a lot of the series is going to be focused on interviewing. So a little separate, but trust us, it works. So next week we'll cover interviewing 101, so the basics of interviewing, different types of interviewing, that sort of thing, like how to prepare that and whatnot. The week after that, we'll do better interviewing, which is a lot more in depth on how do you answer interview questions, especially behavioral ones. We'll do some practice with that. And then on the 17th, we'll be doing mock interviews. So we will have career counselors at BSB who will be there and available to do mock interviews, basically. So go through a 20-minute interview with you and then give you 10 minutes of feedback. Those will be sign-up sheets. So we'll get those up. And then on the 24th, we have our career fair, which we already have 9 companies for, several of which are going to be looking for internships, as well as entry-level jobs or for workers. It should be a lot of fun. So I think we'll get a couple more at that one. Yep. All right. For the career fair sneak peek, so far we have 4Web Medical, ACT Talent Services, Alcon, ASQ, and Department of Veterans Affairs, and iScribe. We also have NASA and the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office for the first time, as well as the UT Dallas Teacher Development Center. And we're expecting at least, I would say, 2 or 3 more to sign up, 2 or 3 more companies. So about half of them are brand new to us, so it should be pretty cool. All right, now LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, it is a social media platform. But it's not like you would expect. So it's social media and it's networking, but it's related directly to business and your professional needs. Okay. So we're not posting pictures of our food. I think that trend actually is past. I'm not sure. Do people still do that when they post pictures of their dinner? I don't. Okay. All right. Okay. I never really caught on to that. It is not a good place to do political rants, or any such thing like that. So try to keep your politics out of it. And it is not a good place for your cute picture, puppy pictures, or anything like that. Although that one's not quite so cute because of she's got her eyes rolled back in her head, which is pretty weird. So social media, but not the way that we're typically used to it, right? Instead, we use LinkedIn for networking. That's one of the primary reason for it is networking, and also for finding jobs. So it is a good site for searching for and finding jobs. Also connecting with people to even lay the base work for finding those jobs. Okay, and then research. So researching about other companies, researching about other fields, all kinds of stuff that you would want to do before you actually go in for an interview or anything like that. Okay, and more. Okay. So what do you actually share on LinkedIn? Oh, I skipped ahead. Sorry. There we go. Okay. So this type of actual information that you would share would be updates relevant to your field. So that's like many of our researchers will talk about the papers they just published, right? Or a talk that they're about to give. It might be more if you're working specifically for a company and they release a new product, you're talking about that product. So things like that. Also things about your network. So if you just met with somebody and it was a good meeting, you can post, hey, I just met with so-and-so and had a great time, something like that, right? But it's still more professionally related. Okay, you want to post about your accomplishments. So if you graduate, you get a new job, get a new internship, anything like that. Just got a new certification, that sort of stuff. You post about that. You can post about projects that you've completed, any awards that you're getting. If you're about to go on a business trip or a conference, it's good to post ahead of time so you can ask, hey, is anybody else going to be in Memphis, Tennessee at this time? I'm going to be there for a conference. Be ready to meet up again and rekindle, right? That sort of thing. And just being at conferences. So if you show up and you're not even trying to meet somebody for lunch, but you say, hey, I'm at this conference, somebody else might chime in and say, hey, I'm here too, right? I've seen that happen a lot. It's just like social media where you can like other people's posts and comment on them and that sort of thing and repost and send the posts forward. But here it's a way of keeping connected with those people. So that's a big problem with networking is how do you keep those networks alive? How do you keep those connections alive, right? LinkedIn provides one of those good ways because then you can go and you can actually just like somebody's stuff, right? Or comment on it. And that's just that little reconnection is enough to kind of keep you in their mind, which is great. Reposting from group to group. So if I find something in my main feed from somebody who's not in another group, but I think it's really cool, I can take it and post it in the biomedical engineering group. I do that fairly frequently for when I see some of our alumni, they'll post jobs. I'll take it from my general post and put it into the group because our group of alumni and students might find it interesting, right? You also do it when you're looking for a job. You can post that, hey, well, for example, we've had a lot of people on Google recently saying they just got laid off. Right? A lot of people are saying I just recently got laid off. I'm looking for jobs. Please let me know if you have any leads. Similarly, if you are posting jobs, trying to find or direct even. So I'm not involved in hiring at all for the department, but we're trying to hire some new administrative assistants. So I can take the job post, put it out there, say, hey, what a great team to work for. Apply for a job, that sort of thing. So lots of different ways that you can actually post and share and get noticed and have people connect, right? Questions about what you would use LinkedIn for, or at least socially wise. Yeah, there's more than that. Okay. All right, getting started. So if you don't have a LinkedIn account, they're pretty easy to get. You just need your email address. And you all just joined, right? So that was pretty much it, just an email address. Yeah, so really easy. They don't send you a lot of junk mail. Actually, I don't really get any junk mail from them at all that I can think of. So get the account started. One of the first things you want to do is go through your settings. So if you look at the top bar, you have all those different options. You have the home, my network, and so on. And then you have the me spot. There's a drop-down menu in there that takes you to settings. I think it's security and settings or just settings. Go through them. We're not going to go through them all now, but take some time to go through them and understand them because they change a lot about how you're seen and what can be seen, right? There's a few things that we are going to discuss really quick here. But basically, you're trying to set yourself up to be discoverable, to be seen, to be out there. The whole point of LinkedIn is for networking. So if you have it set very closed, very private, you're not going to network very well. It's not going to do its job very well for you. So the more you can open it up, the more you can make things public, the better off for visibility. Okay? So profile viewing options. I had thought about flipping over to LinkedIn actually. Yeah, we can do it really quick. We'll try this. See if I can manage between screens. Okay, so under me, we have our settings and privacy. And I want to bring up my other notes so I can see which ones I wanted to talk about. There we go. Oh, See, I told you I'd be messing up. There we go. Okay. So account preferences, the sign-in security, you can take care of all that on your own. Visibility is where we're going to start here. So profile viewing options. When you expand that, this is how you appear when you search and you look at other people's profiles. So I will get a notification. So if I come over here to my feed, it says who's viewed your profile, right? So, and it's over the last 90 days. It gives you a summary. There's 153 people who viewed it. If you don't pay for the premium account, which I don't have, it'll just give you the last 5 people who looked. Okay. Depending on how they have it set, they will either be a complete private, where you just see that somebody looked at you, mostly private, where it just gives you a summary of the field that they're in, or it'll provide your name, your headline, and your picture. Okay. So you can see here, this person has that middle option going where it's just giving me a summary of them. But these others are actually showing their name and what they do. Okay. You do get some other analytics here. You could actually scroll and see all the 153 viewers if you have the premium account. Again, I don't really have it. But why do I care about that? Why do I care about who's looked at my profile? Or seeing who it was as opposed to just that somebody did it? I can see he's checking me out, man. Yeah, I can see who's interested, right? So for example, the human sources specialist at Carter Blood Care, that's probably because I was checking out Carter Blood Care the other day to try to get them to come to our career fair, right? I'm trying to get somebody there. So that somebody who was looking is interesting to me. I would love to have seen who it was so I can connect with them and actually invite them to come to the career fair. But they chose to take this middle option. So when you're viewing other people's profiles, it usually is a good thing to keep your name, your headline, everything that visible so they can contact you if they want to. If you're looking at somebody's profile who you don't really want to know that you're looking at them, totally fine. You can go for the private mode. Problem with private mode is when you do that, let's see if it took effect. It now doesn't show me any of that information. So if I'm anonymous, everybody's anonymous. Okay, and that's fine because you can turn it on and off. Right? It's not like when you turn it off again that it suddenly shows that you viewed all these other people's profiles. It still keeps anonymous in their history for you. I actually don't see the use of this middle one, but that's okay. I like that one. All right, so that is the profile viewing options. Who can see or download your email address? So you can set this to anyone, only visible to you, or you can do first degree, first and second degree, and so on. So what it means by degrees. So let's say I'm connected to you, but not to you. Okay. So you are my first degree connection. I know you, right? We're first up, but you are connected to her. Okay. I'm not directly connected to her, but you are. So she's a second degree. And then so on. So you'd be a third degree and on and on and on, right? It's like the 6 degrees of separation, right? 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon. No, yeah, okay. Like that. So when your email address is visible to anybody on LinkedIn, anybody can email you. That's the idea behind it. So even if they can't message you directly on LinkedIn, they can at least contact you and try to reach out that way. If you're restricted to your first or second degree connections, that means that they have to know you or know somebody who knows you. Okay. I like to have it as open as possible. I don't think I've ever received any harassing emails or anything like that from it, or spam emails. And I haven't heard of anybody who has, but I don't know. I'm also probably not a prime target for it. So that's up to you. Okay. Who can see your last name? Same thing, right? So you can set it to where whenever you appear in a search or anything like that, it appears with your first name and your last initial, or you can have it to be your full last name. Your connections do see your full first and last name, but anybody who's trying to find you wouldn't. They would only see your last initial. Okay. So, oops, I made it do that. So I'm just trying to search Michelle. Right. Oops, I can't spell. Mitchell-y? Mitchell-y. Usually. What's that? Oh, you're okay. Oh, this is only going through my first, so show all results. Set the filters. You're fine. I was just trying to find anybody who, so we can see what it would look like. That's all right. There's not too many people who actually do that, where it's just their last initial, because it does make you really hard to find. So keep that one in mind. Be sure you check that. Representing your organization and interests. We'll come back to this. But basically, if you associate yourself with UT Dallas or an employer or anything like that, this allows it so that people can find you through them. Yeah. So again, it makes you more findable. So we'll look at that a little bit later and you can see what I mean. And then mentions and tags are the other one here that I would point out. Where's that at? Mentions and tags. So down here. Okay. If I allow mentions or tags, that means that you could make a post and include me on it, and it would automatically tag me, or not automatically, but you could tag me in it, and then it would show up on my feed as well. Okay, so again, just like normal social media, the thing is, if I'm trying to say, hey, Michelle did awesome on this job the other day, and I'm trying to give her praise and everything, if I can't actually link to you, then it doesn't show up on your feed, and everybody's like, okay, fine, who's Michelle, right? So you want that to be on. I've never had anything bad happen with it. So again, there probably are instances, but for the most part, it's beneficial. So definitely make yourself taggable. It's a good thing. There are ones related to that about if you appear in the news or anything like that. I've never appeared in the news, so it hasn't been an issue. But typically, I would hope that's a good thing. One other one I guess I will mention really quick, the share profile updates with your network. This means every time you change your profile and update it, it's going to share that with everybody. Okay. It used to be that if you just went in and edited and added a period to something, it would send that out. Okay. Which is why I usually have it off. Now it will ask if you change something on your profile, or at least it would a year ago. Anytime you change your profile, it would ask, do you want me to share this with it, with your network? So I would keep mine off. If you know you're going to go in and put a brand new job or something like that, you might check and turn this on. That way people can see, hey, I got a new job. Congratulate me, right? All right, the other area I want to talk about really quick is data privacy. So let's scroll down to invitations to connect. Where's that one? There we go. So basically, who can invite you to connect with them, all right? Is it only the people that you import on your imported contact lists, which is people that you already know from your email or whatever like that? You import the contact list and you're doing it based off of that. Only people who know your email address or appear in your imported list, or everyone. Yeah. I don't have an imported contact list, so that won't work very well for me. And not many people know my email address. So I mean, my whole point is I'm out there to network. So I want it to be available to everyone. All right, messages. So on data and privacy. So same thing, can people request to talk to you? Can you receive in-mail messages? Do you want to receive sponsored messages like advertisements? So you want to be able to receive those. Or at least consider that you might want to be able to see those. Okay. The other thing that I won't really go into now is your job seeking preferences. Application setting. Oh, this entire section here. This is basically where you turn on, or you can preload resumes. You can say that you're open to recruiters. Oh, I have that. There we go. There, okay. Share your profile when you apply for a job. So anytime that you apply for a job through LinkedIn, it automatically would share your profile link with them, which is a good thing because it's like an expanded resume. So I like that. Signal your interest to recruiters at companies you've created job pattern alerts for. It just says, hey, I'm available, checking you all out because you look like a cool place to work for. Let me know if there's anything up. And stored applicant accounts. So another one to go through, but I mean, go through all of these, but definitely those. Okay. All right. Let's bring this back down. Questions about any of the settings? Awesome. All right, so building your profile. So there's something called the top fold. It's the three things that would appear on any search. So when we were looking for Michelle, probably find me now. I don't remember your last name. There you go. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I thought that would not be a last name. B-R-Y-L. Did I spell it wrong?
Yeah.
Right. All right. Okay. There's no Y there, is there? Is there a Y? There is. Yeah. There we go. Okay. So that's the top fold. That's what would appear for her. So I can see her profile picture, name, her headline, what level of connection she is, and where she is. Okay. Even though it says like I can message her, I can't. It wants me to become a premium member. I am not going to pay for that. We'll show you some workarounds on that. Okay. But that's the part. That's the first impression. Okay. So you want that to be clean. You want that to be put together. So you do want a picture. Most of the time when you see pictures, it's going to be from the shoulder and the head. You want to dress professionally, at least the top half. You don't want to have to like cut people out. So if you're doing a vacation picture or you went out to the bar at the front and it was a really good picture and you just want to crop them out, don't do that. It's really obvious. So have a picture actually taken. It should be a reflection of you, but you still want to keep it professional. So if you like wearing Hawaiian shirts, that's fine. Wear a Hawaiian shirt. But keep it professional looking, nice and neat, right? If we come back again to actual Facebook, back to just Michelle. So you definitely see a pattern here of how people are taking their pictures, right? You don't want something that's too far out, and I have to call it Michelle Wiener there, but it's harder to see her face. Right, that's part of the reason you want to have the profile picture so they can actually see your face. So you don't want the full body shot necessarily. And I don't really have any ones I can make fun of on this. What's a good common name? Frank. Try Frank. Oh, still on the first. I don't want that. I had found an awesome one the other day. It's like somebody did it on purpose to make it a fake one.
What is the name that says first, second, third?
So that's like how you know the person. So I know you directly, but I may not know him, but he may be connected to you. So it's that second degree. He'd be a second link. Okay. So the 7, yeah. Same with third. That means that you know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody. That's where they stop because it gets pretty crazy. We're not finding any good pictures. It's lame, man. I mean, they're all good. We're not finding any bad good pictures. Or good bad pictures. What's a common name for young people now? What's a popular one? Yeah, give me a good one. It's a young person name. Frank is like my generation. Or Melissa? Are you out for? Is this gonna like bring up a Melissa that you know and hate, or? Ew. So that one's a little distracting because of the background, the red and the blue. So I'm gonna be careful there. Man, people are doing good pictures. It's just. All right, we're gonna get desperate here. Yeah, so this one kind of sums it up. So you don't want to do the one where you're like on the phone or you're just doing it distractedly. Definitely don't want to do it socializing with beer or anything like that. You don't want it to be one it's stretching into spot or anything like that. You don't want to do distortion. The ones that are supposed to look inspirational, those kind of look weird. Some people really like them, and if that's you, cool. But selfies are rarely a good thing. So be careful of the selfie. Usually it's beneficial if you can have somebody else help you and take your picture. No picture of your kids or your dogs. Put it actually of you. Actually think I know this guy. Looks really familiar. Watch out for the lighting in your background too. Okay. Yeah, it's a bad one. Okay, sorry, we'll stop. The photos are kind of fun to look through. I get distracted easily. Okay. Okay, so your first name and last name, definitely. If you wanted, so I go by Ben. I don't go by Benjamin. So I could actually change this to be Benjamin, then maybe parentheses Ben in the middle. So if you have your first name is different from the name you go by, that's something you could do. Okay. There is also an option when you're actually creating it and filling out all your information to put in a different name, an additional name. So this is like if you have your last name changed or anything like that, you can put that there. So it's still searchable. You can still be found by it, but it'll display the last name that you give it. Okay. Your headline is not your job title. Okay. So mine would be Associate Professor of Instruction, right? But that's not very descriptive. So that's not what I do a lot more than that. That doesn't mean much. So educator, administrator, communicator focused on promoting student success. That's a lot more. It's not biomedical engineering undergraduate. Okay. It's what you are interested in, what you want to be when you grow up, right? What your brand is. So you're a biomedical engineer. You're already on that track. If you are worried about giving the false impression that you already have the degree, then you can do the BS, whatever year after that. Where's my mouse? Okay. Then that you're interested in research and molecular imaging and cancer. So keywords, you want keywords in there so that it's searchable. So here we have financial reporter 1 at USAA, director of life. So some of these are okay-ish. But this one where you have evidence-based programs from idea to implementation, scientist, clinician, Python, that's a lot more descriptive of what the person actually does, okay? What they're interested in. Science advisor at American Heart Association. Yeah, I kind of know what a science advisor is, but that's not very descriptive. So you can get a lot more into there, right? And if you're not sure what to write, just look what other people have done. Get some ideas from it that way. Okay, so that's the top fold. That's most definitely the thing you want to take care of first. Yes. It is, but you want to keep the most important stuff first. So definitely hit it up first, and then when the person clicks on it, you'll see the rest of it. Okay, and it does limit you to how much you can do. I don't remember how much, but there's definitely a character limit on it. She actually looks pretty cool. I should connect with her. Okay. What else? Oh, the mutual connections is actually pretty cool too. So let's say I'm interested in meeting her. I can reach out to one of my mutual connections and ask for an introduction that way. Okay, so that's pretty handy. All right. I'm back. Okay, so link to groups. When you are filling out your information, when you start going in, and no, we skipped one. Filter profile, top fold, get started. Huh, no, okay. Oh, I know I did that. It's because I'm still talking about the introductory information. When you're filling in your information, so in the top fold, when you're filling in that intro section, it'll ask you what school you're a part of or what your employer is, things like that. When you fill it in, it'll auto-populate some names. Okay? Be sure you select the name that it's auto-populating, right? And then the reason being is that representing your organization's an interest thing that we checked on. If you do that right, that means when somebody goes and searches UT Dallas, they will see you there. So you're one of the people. If you're working for Abbott, then they will see that you're one of the people who works there. Okay? And it gives you their logo and all this other stuff. So it's kind of neat. But be sure as you're filling in the stuff to select the ones that it autofills. All right. Other information. So most of that you can figure out on your own. Not too worried about that. There is an option to actually record your name if you have a hard to pronounce name or one that people aren't as familiar with. Using the one on your phone, you can record the pronunciation and play it back, which is pretty cool. I would recommend providing your pronouns. It's a good thing. Select the position that best represents your brand if you have multiples. So I currently list 2 different jobs. One is a volunteer position and the other is the job I get paid for. So select the one that you want to be most associated with. So for now, professionally, I want to be most associated with the one I get paid for. So instructor. So that's the one I have as my top one. Okay. Same with if you're attending multiple schools, it'll say which school do you want to be associated with, that sort of thing. And then do provide an email address as a way for you to be contacted. And you don't want it to be your school account necessarily. Okay? Why don't you want to use your school account? So that's definitely a part of it. Yeah. After graduation, I think you lose it either immediately or within a year. I'm not sure, but it's pretty quick. Okay. What would be the other reason you don't want to use your school account? We didn't talk about brand, right? You know about brand. Okay. What's brand? Mhm. It's your personal image and reputation, right? Okay. And it's your professional brand, how you want to be seen professionally. So it's not, you're right. It's not that you don't want to necessarily be seen with the school. It's that you don't want to be seen as a student necessarily, right? You want people to see you as a young, budding bioengineer who's trying to go out into the world and make a big difference, right? Not a student. So your profile, the entire time you're building your profile, your resume, all of that, try to have your brand already in mind and build towards it as much as you possibly can. So that's part of the reason you would want a different email address. And you want a professional sounding email address. If you don't have one, go ahead and create one. Preferably one that's just your name or a variation on your name. Try to avoid the 6-number digit after it and all that stuff. But yeah. Okay. All right. So the About You section. This is the next thing that really gets read. There are multiple ways to approach this. So it used to be LinkedIn would recommend a 3-paragraph approach to it. I think they're going for a little bit more creativity. You could also do a bulleted approach, or you can just kind of use a combination thereof, or get creative. Okay. But the big thing is you want three sections to it. You want one where you're summarizing your brand, basically telling what your impression of you is, what you are to everyone else. Okay? Then you need to provide evidence for the claims of your brand, and then a call to action. So call to action would be like, feel free to connect with me. I'm interested in learning about this, that sort of thing. Okay. Be sure you edit the hell out of it. Okay. You don't want to have any errors in there. You want it to not be empty either. So if it's only a sentence or two, fill it out some, give it some more beef, give it some more structure to it, some more information. You still want to be efficient. So don't use a lot of trash words or like, of course, or anything like that, right? You don't need all the fluff. And then all the stuff that you would normally do for your resume, do that here. So using the strong verbs, no being verbs, use as many numbers or examples as you can. You are limited to only 2,000 characters. Okay. So this is what my about looks like. I know it's too small to really read, but the main thing is, so I have this introductory paragraph. And this is actually a little bit more fluffy than it probably needs to be. When a university student admits, like when a university admits a student, that's just kind of a fluffy introduction. You can start off with the more like, this is how I view I am this, right? You can just cut straight to the chase. I was feeling weird when I wrote this one, I think. But then I lay out my goals, and then I say how I approach these goals. And the way that I approach the goals, this is the summary of the stuff that they can't necessarily see just by looking at your resume. Okay. So I say I have 16 years of experience in project management and leading diverse teams. If you were to look at my resume, I've not worked at any one place for 16 years. Okay. So it's a cumulative thing. You're summarizing with this, right? So if you've done 3 years of research through working in 3 different labs, you can say like I've done 3, right? Summarize that way. All right. Questions about the About You? You can provide your email address in the About You as well. Right. Anything like that, any contact information you want there. Okay. Your experience, put something down. Don't leave this blank. Even if you're just saying, I'm a university student, put it down. Okay. We had that workshop earlier last semester on resume and LinkedIn. You can watch the video for that. It talks about turning those non-related experiences into related experiences where you can really emphasize those soft skills, that sort of thing. Do that. Okay. You don't want to leave it blank. And give bullets. So after you list an experience, I'm a student at UTD, list some bullets that will spell out those soft skills that you want to highlight. You're multitasking. You're working on different teams, diverse teams throughout all of your classes. Good communicator, you've presented 5 times in this class or something like that, right? Find stuff to talk about. And then make sure that those bullets are using keywords, okay? When we talk about resumes, we always say specialize your resume to each job that you apply to. Change it for each job that you're applying to so that it fits that job. LinkedIn is more challenging because you don't have one particular company that you're applying to. You're just putting this out there for everyone, okay? So you're specializing it to your field that you're interested in. So one way that you could do it would be go to look at a couple of different job requirements, job postings, and see what their keywords are, and then just take those and use those. Okay, because they're usually pretty common across different jobs. But be sure you work in those keywords so that you're discoverable. You can have more bullets on LinkedIn than you have on your resume. right? It will only show the top 2 or 3 lines for each experience. Like I think if I cut over to mine, yeah, so here, right? It only shows the top 2 ones, but they can expand it and see that I have way too many listed here, right? This is too many. You probably want to cut this down to about half. But those top 2, and because it only shows the top 2, you definitely want those to be the ones you emphasize, like the strongest points, right? Okay. Um, okay. So this is one that was, I'll just go back to their profile. Sorry. So this is one that I could associate with UT Dallas, and because that it has the logo, and if I click on UT Dallas, it'll take me to the school, and it'll list me as one of these people. It says who I work here. Down here, quenching curiosity. It's something I created. It's just a volunteer thing we do for fun. We don't have a logo. There's no official page or anything like that. So you can't click on it. It doesn't take you anywhere. And it just has this blank square in it. So I didn't mean to actually click that. But yeah. But do be sure you list things. Okay. Questions about how you build up your experiences there, I'll list them. Okay. Have something there. All right. Skills and endorsements and recommendations. Okay. Skills, you want to populate those with the keywords that are relevant to you. So under mine, I have neuroscience, science, editing. This is back when I was doing research more. Okay. So you can, when you go into the skills, if you click this demonstrate skills, there's 2 options. You can demonstrate transferable skills where it'll give you prompts about certain things and you can write about it and give basically an essay response. So employers can come and look at that and judge if you're good or not. You can also do skill assessments where you go on and take, I think they're 15-minute or 15-question quizzes on the different skills, and it'll give you a little badge next to it and say, yes, this person is actually good at neuroscience. Or usually it's more like a programming language or something like that, right? But it'll give you that little yay, good job thing. Endorsements don't carry much weight. It's really easy to endorse someone. So if I were to right here, say, Arlo, I'm going to use you. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to use somebody else by accident. Yeah. So that's a good picture. All right, scroll down here to her skills. It's really easy for me to just click endorsement. Okay. I may have just met Arwa. We may have just connected and I've never seen her before in my life. But I can easily come in here and just click all of these things. And the only thing it shows is my little profile picture, right? So there's not much actual responsibility there with it. Okay. If you look back at the one that I had here, so it only shows the last person who really said that I was here, right? The last person who endorsed me. Other than that, it's all anonymous. So there used to be this culture thing that when I would connect with somebody, you'd go and endorse them for a couple things and they'd endorse you for a couple things. And it's kind of this give and take, but it didn't really mean anything. So that's why endorsements are kind of meh. You still want to have the skills listed there because that gives you that searchability, but don't put a lot in the endorsements. Instead, look for the recommendations. So it's good. You can receive recommendations. You can give recommendations. That one carries a lot more weight because you're actually associating yourself with that person with that recommendation. Like it is linked directly to you and you have to write something. When you ask for a LinkedIn recommendation, it's easy to request on there. You want to make sure to try to help the person along because they are written very differently from letters of recommendations. Okay, they're supposed to be a little bit more catchy. It's just a single paragraph typically. And there's an approach that you should take to it. So if you give a recommendation, be sure you look up how to do that. All right, interests. So this comes at the very bottom of the page. Yeah, flip back over. Okay, so these are top voices, companies, groups, and schools. Top voices are people who you think are interesting and just follow. I actually didn't look him up. He just appeared on my feed and I did it one day because I like Ryan Reynolds. But this is where you see people who are following like Bill Gates, people like that, the top influencers out there. That just makes it so whenever that person posts, it appears in your feed. Okay? Companies, actually, it's true for all of these. So anytime you connect with them, it's just basically following them so that they appear in your feed. Okay? The other nice thing about it, though, is if I work at a company, let's say I'm applying for jobs at Collin College, if they see that I'm already following them, they know that I've been interested in them, right? I'm not just applying anywhere. I'm actually interested in them, so I'm following them. Groups. This is like your different clubs. It's more like, yeah, groups of people who just get together online. So there's not a company associated with it. We have our UT Dallas Biomedical Engineering group. Basically, it's anybody in the area who's interested in biomedical engineering, right? It's useful because we can post here, we can post relevant information, but you can also see all the different connections. So you can see all the different members and connect more that way. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and give away one of my tips that I have at the end. So Stephen Ewan, I don't know Stephen, but through the group, I can message him directly. Okay. If I come back here, search for Stephen Ewan. Oops, I'm gonna spell his name right. Okay, I don't have the option to talk to him. I can follow him, but I can't message him. If I look at his profile, it has the message locked. It wants me to subscribe to premium. So if you're in the same group with somebody, you can message them from that group. Okay, so another kind of neat little cheat there. All right, so definitely join some groups, join some schools, associate yourself with UTD, that sort of thing. Okay. So about your network. So networks are about quality, not quantity. So it's not that you're trying to go get thousands of people linked to you, right? You actually want to know them. You don't need to know them extremely well, but you want to have some way that you're actually tied to the person. So don't connect to them unless you have a reason or you see a potential benefit. So I will connect to bioengineering students. I will connect to people who tell me a reason why. They basically include a message there to tell me why. But if somebody's just randomly trying to connect with me and I don't recognize anything about them, I don't do it. Okay. You can get junk connections that way. It's not something that's really beneficial. Okay. Whenever you connect with somebody, I recommend you connect through their profile so you can send a message. So if you go to your network page, it will put all of these suggestions of people out here, usually based on other connections that you already have or anything like that. If you were to click the connect button here, it would automatically send that request to connect with them. Okay. If I go and I view it through their profile, then I can send a message with it. Okay. But yeah, and you can use the filters. So you can then, part of the reason you have your network is so you can find where people are, refer to them in the future, what jobs they're doing, if you need to go find a software engineer to help you with something, that sort of thing. So use the filters. There's all kinds of filters that are good. Okay. So viewing somebody else's profile, you get this option to connect when you're actually looking at their profile. Okay. When you click that, it'll say, do you want to send a message or not? If you don't know that person extremely well, like I would not use this with my boss who I've been working with for 10 years. But if it's somebody who I kind of met at a networking event and we kind of remember each other, then I would include a message to say, hey, this is Ben. We met, 2 nights ago at the networking event for puppies on skateboards. Thought it was really cool, like to follow you, that sort of thing, right? You can get examples of different ways you can invite people fairly easily online. I think you are limited to 300 characters, so it's not a very long message that you can include, but it's enough to get them, at least give them a reason to look at you. Okay, so you can connect. If you have the premium, I guess you can message them. There are certain recruiters who you can message because they've already paid for it and they've paid to make it so people can message them. You can forward their profile. So under this more button, you can forward the profile onto somebody else. If you think like, hey, Arwa, I think you'd be really interested in this person, I can forward them to you. I can save it as a PDF. That way, if there's somebody who I keep looking at their job profile, like if I'm looking for a speaker and I keep going back and looking at their profile, I can just save it as a PDF so it doesn't look like I'm a stalker, right? So it can be beneficial in that way. You can also save your own profile as a PDF then to distribute. And there is an option to change your profile into a resume. I think we get to that a little later. You can follow people. So that's instead of connecting with them, you just look at all their posts, right? It's the same as a company. Yeah. Yeah.
I know you said following is just like seeing their posts, but like what's the difference between following?
Connecting means I get to see all of your connections, right? That means I can also message you directly. Okay. So basically, it gives a lot more permissions. So if I'm following you, the only thing I see are your posts, right? Your activity. But yeah, connecting makes it so you can see my people, I can see your people, can use your network, we can talk to each other, that sort of thing.
People, they don't have a connect button, but they only have a follow.
It's one of the settings. It's where who's allowed to connect with you, who's not allowed to connect with you. There's also ones where if I just totally don't know the person at all, when I click connect, it'll ask, how do I know the person? And it'll give me a couple of options like I work with them or I don't know them or anything like that. If you click that I don't know the person, it'll say something like, be careful connecting to people you don't know, but you can still send them a request. You can report or block someone. So if they're harassing you, you can take care of that. And you can see about their profile. When you click that, it basically says when they joined, when they last updated their picture, that sort of thing. When they last updated their picture is probably good because for me, my picture still has me wearing glasses, but that's from like 5 years ago or something. So things change. And we already talked about viewing anonymously or visibly. Yeah, okay, that's good there. Groups, so this is the thing I was just talking about. You can find connections through the groups. You can message them directly where you can't necessarily otherwise. All right, notifications. So I'm working across the top of our home screen now on all those little things. Notifications are a great way to stay connected, okay? It basically gives you a summary of things that are going on. So anybody who got a new job or a promotion, work anniversaries, birthdays, popular posts, people who viewed you, likes and comments on your current posts. Come here, it looks like I already have 2 notifications from like a little while ago. So yeah, people who are reacting to somebody else's post that mentioned me, that sort of thing, right? So it is a good thing because then you can just easily go and like, let's see, these are people I already said yay job to. Come on, do something new. Okay, so I could have done happy birthdays here, right? I don't usually put my birthday information out there because I don't really care about it, but I put it on there because it gives people an opportunity to talk with me, right? Same thing with saying happy birthday to other people. So use notifications, they're pretty handy. No, those back in November. Yeah, those were that was those people's birthdays. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, but here, so like saying congrats to Dean Holmes and people, things like that. Just a great way to reconnect. Okay, let's talk a little bit about jobs and searching jobs. So this is the link that looks like a briefcase or an attaché. There are lots of filters when you search jobs. We're not going to talk about all of them, but there's a lot that you can use. Okay, the ones that we will talk about, the date posted. So how recent did they post it? Is it 2 months old and they still haven't hired somebody, or they just posted it yesterday? Right. Easy apply. Easy apply is basically you go in, you answer 2 or 3 questions, you click apply, and it sends them your profile as part of the application process instead. Okay? You don't have to upload your resume or anything like that. It's just done. Okay? A lot of the other jobs, when you click apply, it'll take you to their own company website and you apply through that. So easy apply is very fast. The problem with easy apply is you have a much harder time personalizing each resume or adding cover letters or anything like that. So you can't really specify it to the company unless you preloaded a resume that was already specified to them, in which case, why even bother? So Be careful with easy apply. It's easy to apply to a lot of jobs very quickly, but not necessarily good quality applications. Okay? Under 10 applicants, that's just kind of getting the jump on it, right? So if you're looking for just the jobs that only have 10 applicants or less, then I guess it means you're more likely to get reviewed quickly and possibly get the interview. In your network means that you know people who work there, so you have people you can contact. So if I click in my network and I'm applying for a job at Abbott, it'll tell me that so-and-so at Abbott works here and can tell me more about the position or the company or something like that. So I can go talk to them before I interview. Fair chance employer. That's basically if I've been arrested in the past and I have a criminal record, that the company has agreed that they don't use that against me. So they give a fair chance for somebody who's getting a new fresh start. Okay. Other options that you'll see when you're looking at the base jobs page there. So my jobs are any jobs that I've saved, jobs like posts or search or anything along those lines. Alerts, actually, no, take it back. The search is what the alerts are. So if I'm looking for associate professor, it is going to go through every day and scour for new posts related to associate professor and let me know about them. Right. I can also set it so it'll send it to my email. Demonstrate skills is back to that little quiz thing that I mentioned. Interview preparation is a list of questions and how to answer them. So it can be pretty good for that and helping you out. But just be careful not to give the exact answers that they give you. Right? You always want to personalize it. Resume builder, that's where you can either turn your profile into a resume or you can take your resume and turn it into your profile. So it's a pretty neat one. Job seeker guidance, I think that's just a bunch of videos telling you more and more about that. Basic advice. And then application settings, that's the settings for the application. Okay, looking at job posts from different groups. So if I was looking for assistant professor, gives you the basic information. It will give you some salary information. This is based on other people who work there with the same title who have reported the salaries. Okay, this is not based on what the company says. So the UTD did not say that assistant professors get paid this range. Right. Tells you the full time, the entry level, how many employees work there. Are you going to be working for a large group, a small group? How many connections do you have who work there? So I have a lot of people who I know who work here because I work here. So that's so you could talk to them, get to know them ahead of time. If you wanted to go try to find alumni who you know, you do it that way too. All right, so that's the very quick on that. There are varying degrees of information that the companies provide. Some provide a lot, some provide like the bare bones minimum that what you can get. UTD does have one where you have to go apply to their website. So it's just the apply button. And I can see that 3 people have already clicked it and gone through that. Okay. This other job, I can see 14 people did it, but the main difference I wanted to point out here is I can see who the recruiter is. Okay. Not all jobs do that. Not all job posts do that. But when you can see who the recruiter is, you should try to contact them. You should try to message them, try to get to know them, ask them some questions, help get your name to the top. Okay. I think most people don't do that because then they'll get hundreds of people doing the same thing. But if you can, try to. That is something that is up to you. You can ask a question, just make sure it's not a very basic question, but it should be like about the culture or the company, something that shows that you already understand the company and what they're doing. It doesn't even have to be a question. It can be also something like, hey, I'm really passionate about working for your company. Even if it doesn't work out for this position, please keep me in mind for other positions, that sort of thing. But just something to demonstrate your interest. Okay. Basically, look at other people's profiles, their posts, and so on, and see what you like. Okay. Actually think this was out of order. Probably should have came earlier. But when you're building your profile, when you're trying to figure out what to post, anything like that, you know, don't copy word for word, but imitation. Imitation is key to flattery, something like that. Some saying there. Definitely check out what other people like. A lot of things when it comes to your job stuff is opinion, right? And how I see it will be different from how RO sees it, will be different from how somebody else in the Career Center will see it. There are some general good advice that you follow, but the actual details are more up to you. Okay? So see what you like, see what else is out there. Okay, almost done. So another thing about schools and employers, especially with UTD, if you look up UTD and you go to the alumni spot here, it will tell you all the alumni that are out there. So it's like 100 and something thousand people who have said they were alumni from UTD. Okay. I've already searched biomedical engineers, and now it's listing 752 alumni. Okay. I can narrow it down by where they work, where they live. There's 4 other categories, 2 of which they just added. But it's like, what skills do they have? What company do they work for? And 2 other categories I can't remember. So you can narrow it down by that. And the further and further you narrow it down, those profiles will actually appear below it. So this is currently showing me 752. I can narrow it down to like 3. If I'm trying to find somebody specifically who works at Abbott in regulatory affairs, like I can get that level of detail and go talk to that person, or try to at least talk to them or connect with them. So that is extremely handy when you're trying to get informational interviews, when you're trying to find out more about companies or anything like that. You can do the same thing with employees. So instead of going for alumni, if I'm looking for employees, I can click on that. It'll present it differently. It won't allow me to get quite so granular as this with the alumni, but I can still search and see by the different jobs what they do and try to connect that way. It's also a way to find recruiters for a company and ask questions that way. Okay. I feel like there's something else I was going to say. I don't remember what, but that's all right. So that is everything I have for today. Again, we will be back next week, same spot, talking about the basics of interviewing. If you don't mind, if you have a mobile or something that can do a QR code, give us a little feedback. I promise I won't try to figure out who said this was bad, but we'd appreciate any feedback, and that'll just help us kind of doing this in the future. Okay. I am going to stop recording now, and I'll take questions if you have any. And if I can figure out how to stop recording. I can't. I can stop transcribing.